there was an announcement of 5,300 crores of allocation to support micro irrigation in this budget, and one big beneficiary could be Jain Irrigation. That's the reason it's been moving up so much. Anil Jain, the Managing Director of Jain Irrigation Systems, joins us now to talk about that. Mr. Jain, what is your own assessment of the allocation that has come through for the micro irrigation sector, and in particular, what is the pure allocation to MIS that has come through this time around, and what would the impact be on a company like yours?
I think impact definitely would be positive. What they have done is clubbed, couple of different programs of the government related to irrigation under Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. The direct allocation to what they call per drop more crop, which is micro irrigation, is 1,800 crores. Plus, the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana has about additional 2,000 crore allocation, where again micro irrigation is part of that. Okay. So some of those details would become clearer as in next few weeks. But overall, it's substantial increase compared to what it was last year. And also, Finance Minister said in his budget that if he sees tax buoyancy, this is one program he will be giving additional 3,000 crores. So all in all, it's a big leap compared to what it has been, and shows the government intent. They have this program called Har Khet Mein Pani. So they want to bring water to every farm and then use that judiciously. Now, over next 8 to 10 years, this is going to be a $30 billion size, infrastructure project. And this is just a start, in that project. And every year, I hope they'll be able to deliver on this infrastructure creation through irrigation.
Okay. Mr. Jain, how much are state governments involved in, micro irrigation and related activities? I'm asking you because they're about to become very rich. They're going to get a goodish bit of money, which is going to be untied to anything. They got the same amount of money from the center even in earlier years, but they would be tied to power or roads or something that the center was pushing. Now it's like free for them to use as they pleased. Do you notice or do you expect a step up in irrigation related work?
Definitely, because the irrigation is very close to the hearts of the state government, because they have to face the farmers literally on a daily basis, and farmer productivity, rural area becomes very important. In the past, what we have seen is in states like Maharashtra, Andhra and so many others, they wanted to provide more funds for things like micro irrigation, but they couldn't, and they used to draw loans from NABARD under the RIDF, or they will draw money from RKBY. Now they will have their own funds, and I believe, compared to a lot of other programs, this is one program where they can clearly see benefits being given to small farmers, where productivity goes up and water is saved and all other costs are saved. So all of that put together, I feel this would be one program where they can prioritize allocation. Now, one has to now wait and see the new budgets which will come in the various states quickly, whether they are able to, use this opportunity to immediately increase. But that direction is definitely going to be very positive.
In your routine activities, do you liaise more with the central government or state governments when you have to, interface with irrigation projects?
There are two parts of the business within the micro irrigation. One is micro irrigation, where we sell via the dealers to the farmers, and there the liaison is more with the district level authorities. But the irrigation project which you spoke about, where there is end-to-end irrigation solution, where you bring water up to the farm and then use drip and sprinkler, what we call integrated irrigation solutions, there we are dealing with the state government irrigation utilities like the boards, etc., and those would be able to now issue, there is also the mention in the budget about this tax-free irrigation bonds that would allow them to go for, complete water conveyance solution and use water use efficiency from current about 35-40% to about 80-85%. So that is also going to be, I believe, a big change.
Okay. How much will all this help your own business? Because, even in the quarter gone by, your MIS business, especially in states like Maharashtra, was under pressure because of the way prices moved as well as the untimely rains. You were talking about this Har Khet Mein Pani massive project. How much do you think it could impact, your own business? What could the growth projections be?
If you look at our overall micro irrigation business for the first 9 months, we grew within India, domestic, about 24%. So that has been a hefty good growth which we have seen, despite third quarter, which was negative due to or less growth due to various factors you mentioned. Fourth quarter looks very positive. All of these changes which government is bringing is going to bring business next year and years after that. So I think, in a normal years, we should grow about 20% on an average. But in good years, with some of these things falling in place, I think the growth rates could be 20 to 30%. It could go to the higher levels of those towards 30%. Once some of these things are already, that new architecture related to support to irrigation gets in place between center and states.
You have an outstanding DVR, don't you, Mr. Jain? What is the percentage of your DVRs vis-a-vis shares outstanding? And will you look to issue more? Because now it might find a place in indices.
Right now it's about 5% total quantity of shares issued under DVR. And we had issued that as a bonus to our existing shareholders, kind of. If, the difference between the main share and the DVR, if that closes to a sufficient level, then that is something one can look at that in future.
No, actually it is the other way around. No, actually, Mr. Jain, it is the other way around. Only if it is at least 10% of the outstanding shares, it makes its way into the indices. So, probably if you issued more and brought it to 10%, the chances of the two converging become higher. So, that's not a line of thought at your board.
That's true. That was, that was, the kind of recent, what would you call, change which has come into place, where the stock exchange are going to see whether this can be taken as part of index, and therefore the value can increase. In the West also, if you look at US markets and other places, the difference is usually not more than 10%. In India, it has been 30 to 50%. So I'm sure, as we go along, we'll think about this issue. But as of now, since that news came, our board hasn't met, so we have not really thought through this issue as of now.
Okay, just one final question from my end. There were reports that the Maharashtra government has come out with a time-bound schedule for sugarcane drip irrigation to make that to implement that process. Any update on that, and what could the potential be for your own company from sugarcane?
There are two developments there. Maharashtra and Karnataka, both states have announced that they would like to ensure that the entire sugarcane being grown in these two states is fully drip irrigated or micro irrigation irrigated. And that gives you an approximately 1.4 million hectares of area to be brought under drip irrigation, which in terms of price terms works out to approximately 15,000 crore rupees of business opportunity for the whole industry. Our market share is on an average about 50%. Now the challenge is to see in what period this happens, whether this happens in 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. That is still being worked out, those detailed mechanics. But both the governments have kind of made a law that all the sugarcane has to be drip irrigated. So it's now only a matter of time. Both governments are in process of also getting the, the finance tied up, because this is a long-term project, and they expect sugar factories to also chip in some amount. So all that is happening, and I believe post September this year, this would be a very good growth business opportunity again for us.
All right, Mr. Jain, we'll leave it at that and touch base with you after you can give us some update on how this plan is progressing.